Hi, this is Laura March with another episode of Laura March Math Prep. We're doing SAT test number 2, section 3, no calculator section. So we start with number 1, which says if 5x plus 6 is 10, what is the value of 10x plus 3? First thing I did is isolate 5x is 4. And then we say, well, we're looking for 10x. 10x is double that, 8. And 10x plus 3 is 11. The second, we have system of equations, which ordered pair satisfies the system equations above. This is a easy one to use, substitution. Solve for y is negative x. Plug in negative x for y, and we get 3x minus 2 times negative x, which is 3x plus 2x, which is 5x, equals 10. X is 2, and that's the only answer choice with a 2 for x. Number 3, a landscaping company estimates the price of a job is in dollars using the expression 60 plus 12 NH, where N is the number of landscapers who will be working and H is the total number of hours the job will take using N landscapers. Which of the following is the best interpretation of the number 12 in the expression? So if you look at number A, it makes sense. The company charges $12 per hour for each landscaper. This is a fixed and variable problem. There's a fixed cost of 60 and the variable cost $12 per hour per landscaper. Which of the following is equivalent to the expression shown above? Again, it's helpful to analyze your answer choices, and in choice A, I would have to FOIL this, and 3a squared times 3a squared is 9a to the 4th, which is the only answer choice that gives us that correct first term, so that's the answer. Now we have a radical expression, and the way you do this is you first isolate the radical expression, and then you square both sides to get rid of the radical sign. So 2x squared plus 17 equals x, but they told us x is 7. Square both sides gets rid of the radical sign, so we have 2x squared plus 17 equals 49. Subtract 49 from both sides, you get 2x squared equals 32, and divide both sides by 2. K squared is 16, so K is 4. Number 6, we have line L parallel to line K, and they're asking for the value of P. Whenever we see lines, often slope is the key to the answer. We have both points on line L, so we can find the slope, which is the change in y. 2 minus 0 is 2 over the change in x. 0 minus negative 5 is 5. So the slope of line L is 2 over 5. Remember, always parallel lines have the same slope. So we know 2/5 is the slope of line K. The change in y is 0 minus negative 4, which is 4. Over p minus 0, which is p. So p would be 10. Number 7, if x to the a squared over x to the b squared is 16, x is greater than 1 and a plus b is 2, what's the value of a minus b? Well, remember when we have the same base and we have an exponent problem and we're dividing, what do we do with the exponents? We subtract them. So this is x to the a squared minus b squared equals x to the 16th. So what I can do is simply set the exponents equal to each other and say a squared minus b squared equals 16. And then it's always helpful to recognize this is the difference of two squares, which we call dots. And how do we factor the difference of two squares? A squared minus b squared factors as a plus b times a minus b. And here they told you that a plus b is 2. So that's 2 times A minus B equals 16. So A minus B is 8. So that was the difference of two squares that popped up in that exponent problem. Number 8, the measure A in degrees of an exterior angle of a regular polygon is related to the number of sides n of the polygon by the formula above. If the measure of an exterior angle of a regular polygon is greater than 50 degrees, what is the greatest number of sides it can have? So here, sometimes we want to do what we call back solving or trying the answers, and we try the answers. It's good to try B or C first, one of the middle ones. So let's try C. So what's the greatest number of sides it can have? If it had 7 sides and the exterior angles were 50 degrees, 7 sides times 50 degrees gives us 350 degrees. And so that is less than 360. So it could be a little more than 50 degrees and get you 360. What's the greatest number of sides? So 7 sides work. Just say, does 8 sides work? If each of the 8 angles was 50 degrees, that would multiply to 400 degrees, which would be too big. So it can't be 8, it has to be 7. And passes through the 0.18. So let's find the equation of that line. Slope is 2, y equals mx plus b, so y equals 2x plus b. It goes through the 0.18, plug in 8 for y and 1 for x. B is 6. So we found the equation of that line. It's y equals 2x plus 6. Now the second line passes through the points 1, 2, and 2, 1. So change in y is 1 over -1. The slope is -1. So the equation of this line is y equals -x plus b. We can plug in one of these points. We'll plug in 2 for y and 1 for x to find b. And b is 3. So the equation of this line is y equals -x plus 3. So here's the 2 lines. To find the point of intersection, I'll substitute 2x plus 6 for y. 2x plus 6 equals -x plus 3. And we get 3x is -3. X is -1. If x is -1, I'm going to plug that into this equation. So I get y is 1 plus 3, y is 4. And the question is, what is a plus b? So I'm going to add x and y. -1 and 4 is 3. Which of the following equations has a graph in the xy plane for which y is always greater than or equal to -1? So if you think of your xy graph for y to be greater than or equal to -1, here's -1, so y has to be bigger at -1 or bigger than that. I look at B and C because I recognize them as parabolas, and I realize that y equals x squared minus 2 is a parabola that's moved down 2. So it would have its turning point at 0, -2, which takes it below -1. So that doesn't work. If I look at C, I recognize that -2 inside the parentheses moves my parabola to the right. So it would have a turning point on the x-axis. And that's the answer. Y is always greater than or equal to -1. Which of the following complex numbers is equivalent to 3 minus 5i over 8 plus 2i? So when we see this, we want to multiply by the conjugate pair of the denominator, which would be 8 minus 2i. And you'll see the reason you do this is it eliminates the I term on the bottom, and you have to then multiply the top by 8 minus 2i also. So when you multiply fractions, you multiply numerators, multiply denominators, and we have to FOIL them. On the top, we get 24 minus 6i minus 40i, which is minus 46i. And then we have a negative times a negative. So we have plus 5 times 2, 10 I squared. And on the bottom, we have 8 times 8 is 64. The outside inside terms cancel out. And then we have minus 4I squared. So we can change our I squared terms to -1. So on the top, we get 24 minus 10 is 14. Minus 64I, 46I over 64 plus 4 is 68. And then we see we can divide top and bottom by 2. So we get 7 minus 23I over 34, which is choice C. Number 12, a website uses the formula above to calculate a seller's rating R based on the number of favorable reviews F and unfavorable reviews N. Which of the following expresses the number of favorable reviews in terms of the other variables? So they just want you to solve for F. To get rid of the denominator here, I think the first step would be to multiply both sides by N plus F. So you have R times N plus F equals F. And we will distribute on the left. So we get Rn plus Rf equals F. And we want to get all the F terms on the left. So we get Rf minus F equals Rn. And then how do we get the F by itself? This is key. We factor out the F. So we get F times R minus 1 equals Rn. And to solve for R, it's Rn over 1 minus R. Okay, the last 3 multiple choice here, which are typically the very hard level ones. What are the sum of all values of F of M that satisfy 2M squared minus 16M plus 8? So you might try to factor this and you'll see that it doesn't factor. But to simplify it, I might notice that I can divide everything by 2 just to make it a little simpler. So I get M squared minus 8M plus 4 equals 0. And since I can't factor it, I need to use the quadratic equation, which is x equals negative b, which in this case becomes negative of negative 8, plus or minus the square root of b squared. Negative 8 squared is 64, minus 4 times a is 1, times c is 4, all over 2a. Again, a is 1, so it's over 2. So this becomes 64 minus 16, which is 48. So it's 8 plus or minus the square root of 48 over 2. And can we simplify square root of 48? Oh, it's 16 times 3, which is 4 rad 3. So we'd have 8 plus or minus 4 rad 3 over 2. I can divide that by 2 and get 4 plus or minus 2 rad 3. And they want the sum of the solutions for M. So we would get 4 plus 2 rad 3 plus 4 minus 2 rad 3. So 2 rad 3 minus 2 rad 3 is 0, and 4 plus 4 is 8. Number 14, a radioactive substance decays at an annual rate of 13%. If the initial amount of the substance is 325 grams, which of the following functions F models the remaining amount of the substance in grams T years later? This is growth and decay. This is the decay formula. The future value is the present amount, which is 325. So we can eliminate these answer choices, times 1 minus the rate of decay. If the rate of decay is 13%, 1 minus 13% is 87%, choice A. The expression 5x minus 2 divided by x plus 3 is equivalent to which of the following? Well, we could remember our long division, or we could plug in numbers and then try the answers, but let's try a little long division. X goes into 5x 5 times. 5 times x plus 3 is 5x plus 15. I subtract 5x minus 5x is 0. Negative 2 minus 15 is negative 17. And so the answer is 5 minus 17. That's the remainder over x plus 3d. Okay, so now they give you instructions on how to do the grid-ins, which you should review if you don't know. And we start with the easier grid-in. The sales manager of a company awarded a total of $3,000 in bonuses to the most productive salespeople. The bonuses were awarded in the amounts of $250 or $750. If at least one $250 bonus and at least one $750 bonus were awarded, what is one possible number of 250 bonuses awarded? So we have $3,000 is equal to $250 times X bonuses plus $750 times Y bonuses. So there are multiple answer choices here. What's one possible number of $250 bonuses? Well, I'm just thinking, well, what if we tried 6 $250 bonuses? 6 times 250 would give us 1,500, which would leave 1,500 of the Y bonuses. 2 times 750 is 1,500, so 6 works. Actually, 3, 6, or 9 worked as an answer choice. In the equation above, A, B, and C are constants. If the equation is true for all values of X, what's the value of B? The first thing I do is distributive property and combine like terms. So on the left side here, we get 2x times 3x, 6x squared, plus 5 times 2x, 10x, plus 3 times 3x, 9x, plus 3 times 5, 15. Then we combine like terms. We have 6x squared plus 19x plus 15 equals ax squared plus bx plus c. And they're asking, what is the value of b? B is the coordinate of the x term, which is 19. In the figure above, AE is parallel to CD. Whoops, so these are parallel. And segment AD intersects CE at B. What is the length of segment CE? So we have to recognize these are similar triangles. They have this angle in common. These are vertical angles. And since these are parallel, we have parallel lines cut by a transverse. So this angle equals this angle. You only need 2 angles for similarity. And in similar triangles, the corresponding sides are proportional. And what is the length of CE? Okay, well, we can do a proportion. 5 is to 10. As CB is to 8. And we can solve and we get CB is 4. And if CB is 4 and BE is 8, 4 and 8 is 12. Okay, 19 or 20 are our 2 last grid-ins, typically your very hard problems. In the XY plane above, O is the center of the circle and the measure of angle AOB right here is pi over A radians. What's the value of A? So first of all, you want to know that pi equals 180 degrees. So the measure of angle AOB AOB is 180 degrees over A. And then it's helpful always to think in terms of triangles. And in this triangle, this leg is rad 3, and this leg is 1. And I can use Pythagorean theorem or the relationship of a triangle to know that this side is 2. And this is a 30, 60, 90 triangle to have that relationship in the sides. And so this angle here is 30 degrees because it's opposite the smallest leg. So if 180 over A is 30, A is 6. Last one, in the system of equations above, A and B are constants. If the system has infinitely many solutions, what's the value of A over B? When would two lines have infinitely many solutions? Well, when they are the exact same line, they intersect at all points. So here you would say, well, AX plus BY equals, let's call this C. What happened? This 12 to get to 60 was multiplied by 5. So for this to be the same line, A times 5 would give me 2, and B times 5 would give me 8. And in this way, if I was multiplying every term of the first equation by 5, they'd be the same line. So I can solve for A is 2/5 and B is 8/5. What is A over B? It's 2/5 divided by 8/5, which is the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 5/8. And that's 2 over 8, which reduces to 1/4. That's it. That's section 3 of test 2. Good luck. Talk to you soon.